Good morning, fudders. Essence of fudders. Um, Hello, Sir Garen. What's good? Yeah, boy. Come on in. I'm gonna continue the video we started watching yesterday with everyone. That is what we will do on this day. This day of the 6th month, 17th day of the 2026 year at 10:17 p.m. of the Central Standard Time. You know what I mean? How's everybody day today? What'd you guys get up to? Cannot lie, I'm deep fried today, but I will do my best to keep up. That's completely fine. How's being on your summertime work schedule been? Also, Futters exploded. Company has Juneteenth as a paid holiday. Awesome. So I'm not working this Friday regardless, but doing overtime at the moment because there's just a lot to do. I mean, that's big, you know. Still get OT, so still getting paid. Awesome. I wish I could say the same. But no, that's sick. I'm glad that you're gonna get your time off still. I know that you said that you could work your, even though that you get your summertime work schedule, like you'll still work overtime because you can, which is awesome. But it's sick that you have a holiday coming up, which means you'll be free Friday. I should be, I mean, like, I don't have any plans at all. So, Friday after like dungeons and stuff, since you'll be home, I'll see. Maybe I'll plan like a game to play or something, like a game where a lot of people can play. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That sounds like a plan to me. I took Monday as well, so 4 day, hey, big 4 day weekend, huge. We love that for you. As for the video, I'm kind of waiting because like I kind of want to wait for at least like Mousy or probably just like Mousy. There's like two people in chat yesterday that were, it was Mousy and Chippy Monk that I like didn't want to start the video without them being here, but I don't know if they're like around or alive, and I don't know how to like poke them. You know what I mean? Video for more for media app, anyways. I guess than anything else. I'll give them like 5 minutes. I'll just yap for a little bit. Oh, I guess Status is maybe. I don't know. I don't know if Status also wants to listen to the lore video or not, but Status is also here. Hey man, what's up? We're gonna do part 2 of that watching that we did yesterday. I'm gonna highlight yesterday's watch part and then upload it on YouTube. But today we're live on YouTube as well, so I don't have to upload it to YouTube. It'll just get posted as a VOD on YouTube, which is easy. Saves me time and effort. I don't have to worry about. So that's big. So part two is going to be uploaded before part one. Teehee. But I mean, that's fine. Right? Why not? Hi, status. Good morning. Oh, look, Irish as well. Hey, man. What's up, Irish? How was your stream? Good morning. What'd you do today, status? I like this song. It's a really good song. In the back of a dollar store in that shopping mall, and you've a religion out in San Cristobal, far enough to give you a call. How was everyone's day today? What was everyone up to? Well, Iris, I know you were streaming. Yeah, you showed it to me. I may have done that. I may have shown you this song. Tell me you can control and I fucking hate status so much. The teller told me that I would be young and I would fall. What I do? I asked you like 50 questions, you've not answered a single one. I fucking hate that guy too. Hi, Fudders, welcome in. I'm like multitasking. Me when I'm multitasking? What did you do today, Fudders? Body looks at me the way it never has before. Status, you want to show me how to use TikTok sometime? I did some PvP with Saiga's guild. Awesome. How would that go? I haven't been on BDO in a bit. He's leaving Nest. So you're joining Saiga's guild? But I lie and I tell you that I moved. Bow, 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 bow. Everything is brand, everything's brand new. TikTok expert. I wouldn't want to burden Jen with it. I'm gonna blow Lyris up one of these days. I'm just gonna plant fucking bombs in her Minecraft house. TNT. Line the entire building with TNT. And then just like make a also underground passage made of redstone. And just like trail it back to the other side of her house and then make like put a door there, right? And it's gonna be like, ooh, cake inside. And then she's gonna open the door and go in there. And it's just gonna be a lever. And it's gonna say, oh, pull the lever for cake. And then she's gonna pull the lever and it's gonna blow the house up. If murking out to do PvP means we're leaving Nest, then I guess I'll be joining Grave. Awesome. When? Whenever we play Minecraft next. Pull the lever, crank. Pull the lever. Wrong lever. What were you doing then? What lever are you referring to? In actuality, the next time I leave Ness is when I'm taking another long break from BDO, so probably after the ball. When is the ball, anyways? Is that anytime soon? July 25th. Awesome. Song from its garden. Like June 43rd. I can't wait that long, Butters. I simply cannot wait that long. Comes to steal away each dream you keep. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Are you guys saving up anything for the ball? Are you guys like saving taps or anything crazy got you planned for the ball? Obviously, they're gonna give out like a hammer or a couple hammers and some crons, so people are gonna tap regardless. But are you guys saving anything up to go with that, or what? You guys just like winging it? Also, anyone excited for anything from the ball? Because I know I'm not. No, I'm just gonna get the enhanced mats and dip unless the ball is actually juiced. Understandable. Tap, 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 then uninstall. Maybe I gotta do that one of these days. Mayhap. Maybe I just uninstall everything, to be honest. Uninstall everything, disappear from the internet. Sounds good to me. Surely fix armor so I can stop tapping my weapons and get my armor. I'm so behind in the game, it's like laughable. They'll probably do one of those like Giga login events for a month after the ball though. So once I've milked them for all the enhancement mats, it's break time. Understandable. I think the only exception is probably Mountain of Eternal Winter Part 2. And that shit's gone. That shit's been written off, man. We're gonna get Adania Part 2 before Mountain of Eternal Winter 2 is gonna even be thought about again. Like they're like, yeah, we're gonna do that, and then nah, nothing. Literally. They're just like, yeah, Mountain of Eternal Winter 2. Just kidding. Land of the Morning Light. And then Land of the Morning Light Part 2 came out. Still nothing about Mountain of Eternal Winter. And now it's like, well, here's Adania. And guess what? Adania Part 2 is coming out. You know what I mean? It's like, did we where did we get lost? What happened? They forgot about that place? Yeah, no, that shit's on the back burners for forever. I genuinely, I personally do not believe they will be releasing Mountain of Eternal Winter Part 2. And if they do, I'll be surprised. But I just don't feel like it's gonna come out. If we get Land of the Morning like 3 before Mountain of Eternal Winter 2, I'm done. Understandable. If you get back on, I can do Floodlands now, legitimately. Help you catch up. Yeah, I mean, that's if I mean, I would. If I get on, I'd be down to do Floodlands. I just have to, get on the game or want to get on the game. I just don't get why they Just up and abandoned Mountain of Eternal Winter. I don't know. I'll be honest. Probably the best grind spot in the game was in Mountain of Eternal Winter. Jade Starlight Forest, bomb ass grind spot. Because it's related to Guardians and no one cares. That's not true. People love Guardian. Like Garnier. He loves Guardian for the same reason everyone else loves Guardian. Large woman with big boob. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Only Guardian players still yearn for the mountain. Excuse me, the better large lady dragon is from there. Okay. So now you're just trying to start arguments with Sorg. He's like, the better dragon lady is from there actually. Mountain of Eternal Winter 2 is only going to be good because of Dracania. Drac is not a large woman in the same way Guardian is, and you know it. True. Krogan, what's good? How you doing? Good morning. How we doing? Also, Dracania is. What are you up to today, Crooked? How have you doing? What have you been up to? How was your day? Having trouble dragging my stinky butt into the shower? Have you tried like just dragging yourself across the floor? Like that might help. I don't know. Just like lay on the ground and just fucking crawl. Ever try that? I had a work meeting, visited a friend for their birthday, and then did gym stuff. Yep. That's all your energy gone. Time to lay on the floor, turn into a log, just go sideways and just roll your way to the fucking bathroom, and then flip over and caterpillar or like inchworm your way into the bathroom. And if you have a tub, then you just like again like inchworm your way up the tub, fall in, reach up, pull up the fucking little thing for your shower, and then turn the water on, and boom, the bath has begun. If you drown, that's on you. But like I feel like you can figure it out from there. What am I reading? I didn't. I will also say this: Big Fud. Okay, the large women don't need to oppose each other. There's no need for a better large woman when they they should all be cherished. Too bad in lore they oppose each other. They do oppose each other in lore. It seems like extra steps. I mean, if you have enough energy, just get up and walk over there. You know what I mean? Just get up and go wash your ass. I want to watch them fight, all right. What did he mean by that? This is all fighters just thinking about, man. That's Guardian Draconia for futters right there. Mm, 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 mm. All right, I'm gonna go. All right, I'm going. I'm going. Yeah, go wash your ass, crooked. It's time to wash your fucking ass. You've been stinking up the place for the entire day. It's time to lock in to a shower. I guess I'll start the video before Mousy or Chippy get here, cause it's been more than 5 minutes. The last thing we were talking about, or last thing no, right before we ended, we're gonna start with the crown. Start talking about the crown. Let's see. Do I have this set up? No. What color did I make meme? Green. There we go. Before you start, okay, I'm listening. Am I missing out on any meaningful character progression by doing the side stuff on the maps before the MSQ? No, you can do maps however you want. So the only things you're missing out on is doing MSQ gives you Atlas points, and the Atlas points are like for that skill tree, and you just unlock more things by doing that. Like certain parts of the Atlas tree will like spawn more rare mobs or give you higher chances on this to spawn or that to drop or blah 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 blah. So I mean, you can map however you want. I'll be honest, I've done a shit ton of mapping and not really done any of the I finished the main quest, the original part of the main quest for the maps. After that, like there's a shit ton of quests that I just have on the side that I haven't done that I probably should do at some point, but I've just been mapping around. Maybe I should start it on that now and gonna yeah. Probably want to lock that down. Get that in. Get that done. Um yeah, I'm down to lock into this fucking video. Everything should still be captured from yesterday. I feel like I'm not. I feel like my model's not. Do I need to recalibrate? Looks like it's fine now. Kind of. Wow. The eyes aren't staying open. I'm gonna recalibrate really quick. Because it looks like my eyes are closed. They're not. Oh, even on the thing, my eyes look closed. Why is that? Also, or honey from the beach. When not sunny would shake down from his canopy of trees. Maybe my eyes are just not open today. I'll be honest. My eyes are like pretty bad, and by what I mean by that is that like my eyes generally aren't that open. So I guess it's hard for me to be captured when it comes to. I feel like my eyes are open enough right now. Maybe my locks are in the way. Let's try doing that. Yeah, it looks way better. Yeah. Okay. Um, I'll recalibrate now, maybe. No, no, no. See if I do this. I'm looking at the thing and it's like it looks like my eyes are closed on the fucking. Hold on, let me turn that off maybe, and then turn it back on. All right. I did not fix anything. Maybe if I adjust the light. Not said he would shake down from his canopy of trees. Okay. How's that? Eyes open? If I look over here at chat. If I look over here at my other monitor, if I look straight ahead, yeah, whatever. Yeah. All right, lore time. Yesterday we talked about a lot of stuff. We went over the Lich, Golb, the Comet, a little bit of the Crown we went over as well. Mostly just the Lich and Golb, it looks like, from what I remember from yesterday. And like Betty. Right now we're gonna get into the Crown. We're gonna watch 30 minutes of this. I'm obviously gonna pause and yap a bunch as well. But yeah, let's enjoy. The Ice Crown. Made by Mr. Evergreen. Patience Evergreen. I love lore. Hi, best friend. Good morning. Welcome in. Lore video. Lore video time. Time to learn Adventure Time lore. You weren't here yesterday, but we started yesterday. We're 30 minutes in. We're going to watch another 30 minutes today. Obviously, I'm going to pause and yap a bunch in between, but we're continuing. Hi, Kage. Good morning. Welcome in. I think the only people who are missing out from yesterday are like Mousy and Chippy Monk, because they were getting into it. I think Geo also was also vibing, but I'm starting now. We're 30 minutes into the stream. We haven't even started the video.
Million-year-old curse that destroyed Simon Petrikov. If you've watched Adventure Time casually, you probably know the Ice King as the goofy, blue-skinned weirdo who kidnaps princesses and plays drums badly and talks to penguins. A child might be the most tragic tale in all of animation. And the crown that destroyed him wasn't built for him. It was built 65 million years ago for a dinosaur.
But I think I'm familiar with it. You are.
Before we move on, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this breakdown. Moving on to the Ice Crown and the 65 million year old curse that destroyed Simon Petrikov. If you've watched Adventure Time casually, you probably know the Ice King as the goofy, blue-skinned weirdo
why did
who
it
kidnaps
restart?
princesses and plays drums badly and talks to penguins. He's comic relief. He's annoying. He shows up, does something embarrassing.
Also, for anyone who wasn't here yesterday, a couple things. One, this video we're watching, this is definitely an AI voiceover for one. Two, not edited well. We're just watching it because, I was like, I want to eat food and like throw on something to watch with chat. So we just threw the first thing we saw on. I'm doing a lot of the talking when it comes to the video because I like want to break things down. Like yesterday I paused a lot because they were saying things and I was like, anyways, we're gonna go over it this way instead, because they were calling Golb a god and I'm like, Golb's not a god. it's already wrong. But I'll be pausing here and there. Right now we're gonna get into Ice King. For anyone who doesn't know Ice King, there he is, the blue guy right there, the snow guy. He's a cool guy, ahaha, as he says, or a chill guy. Simon Petrikov, who put on the crown originally, who was alive after the Great Mushroom War, before, obviously before Finn and Jake's time, around when Marceline was, actually he doesn't meet Marcy until like a while later. He's already been alive for a while, because he's alive after the next part of the world was destroyed. But anyways, we're gonna talk about him. We're gonna talk about the crown that was made by Patience Evergreen. The crown that was made back about like 1,000 years ago or more, something like that. The crown was originally made to grant one wish. That was the whole purpose of the crown. It was to grant a wish, and the wish was going to be made to stop the Catalyst Comet from colliding with Earth. And that was like the idea that Patience Evergreen had, but he failed ultimately. And the crown was used by Gunther from that time period, which was a dinosaur. And Gunther's one wish was to be Patience Evergreen. So they turned into Patience Evergreen. The Catalyst Comet hit, boom, wiped out the dinosaurs, haha, and everyone else. And as we talked about yesterday, every time a catalyst comet comes, it comes to bring change or like restart the Earth, basically. So that happened, and the one that crash landed at that point was green because, like I said yesterday, when it wasn't here again, sorry, reiterating. Anytime a catalyst comet shows up, which they show up every like 1,000 years, they're a different color, and basically that's because each one is like basically a past life or the life of someone else that hasn't existed yet. Like the change that it brings usually comes along with a soul of like someone who hasn't been created that will bring change to the area. That specific catalyst comet was green. That catalyst comet is what brought the Lich's essence to Oo, but didn't activate it. It was just there dormant underneath the ground until the Great Mushroom War happens, and that's when it activates. That's when the Lich is born and given a body, and then like the whole story starts. A while later, blue, 1,000 years after that, blue Catalyst Comet, boom, that's Finn. We'll get past that. We're gonna get into this
Embarrassing,
crown.
and either gets punched by Finn or just kind of wanders away. For the first 2 seasons, that's basically all he is. And then the show pulls back the curtain, and you discover that the Ice King is actually the most tragic character in the history of animation. Because the Ice King used to be a man. A normal, kind, intelligent human man named Simon Petrikov. An antiquarian and researcher who loved his fiancée Betty and collected ancient artifacts for a living. And the crown he wears, the crown that gives him ice powers and turns him into a deranged kidnapper, wasn't built for him. It was built 65 million years ago, during the age of the dinosaurs, for an entirely different purpose. And it's been running the same corrupted wish ever since. Let's go back to the beginning, way back. In the episode Evergreen, Season 6, Episode 24, the show takes us to the Cretaceous period. Earth is home to 4 elementals, beings who embody the fundamental forces of the planet. The ice elemental is a dinosaur named Urgent Evergreen. He's brilliant, powerful, and deeply paranoid. When he detects a green catalyst comet on a collision course with Earth, a comet...
Also, one more thing. Another note for anyone who is unaware. The person that kind of looks like icing over there, obviously, that is Urgent Evergreen. Um, he thing about him obviously is that he's the ice elemental, right? Simon himself, this I talked about this yesterday, is not an ice elemental, nor was he ever meant to be an ice elemental. The crown just gave him powers that made him seem like one, never was one. Patience that lived underneath his mountain for thousands of years is the ice elemental, who you meet later on during the elements episode when it's after the islands arc when Finn and Jake come back home and everything's like fucked up. And they're like, why is Oo segmented into 4 different areas and each one is like an element? What's going on with that? That's from what that is. And you get the Skyhooks episode. We're not getting into that.
that
I
will
know too
wipe
much.
out all life, he decides to build a failsafe, a magical crown that grants its wearer their deepest wish. Evergreen's plan was simple. Wear the crown, wish for the comet to be destroyed, save the world. His fellow elementals, Chatsbury, Balthus, and Slimy D, refused to help. They argued that the comet was part of the natural cycle of change, that Evergreen's crown was too dangerous, that interfering with cosmic forces could cause damage far worse than the comet itself.
Which is true, because the Catalyst Comet returns to Earth on a cycle every 1,000 years to bring change. Him interrupting that would, like, no one really knows, but would definitely, I feel like, cause something catastrophic to happen because you're interrupting the like natural cycle of the world, of like the universe actually. Like stopping the Catalyst Comet would be insane, I believe.
Evergreen responded by freezing them solid and proceeding with his plan anyway. Already,
There's
you can
loss.
see the
Oh,
pattern that will
not
repeat
everyone can be
through every
Kage.
wearer of this crown. The arrogance, the willingness to override everyone else's judgment, the certainty that they alone know what's best.
Okay, also this part that he's yapping about right
Ever-
now just is not
the,
true.
the willingness through every anyway. Already, you can see the pattern that will repeat
Because
through every wearer of
Gen
this
fella,
crown.
I
The
got a game.
arrogance,
You got a
the
game.
willingness to override everyone else's judgment, the certainty that they alone know what's best. Evergreen had an
Like, when does any of that sound like IK? No, not really. Sorg, you have no points? Sorg, what the fuck happened? When did you lose your points? HP Bar, what game? You have a game? What game? Also, congratulations, liars.
apprentice, a small
It's time
dinosaur he
to
also
play
called
Mecha
Gunther.
Chameleon.
Evergreen
Gift it to
treated
me.
Gunther
I'll play a
terribly.
game.
He was dismissive,
I feel like a couple people
cold,
asked to play that,
demanding, and
but
cruel.
no one's like
He
actually
used
picked the day to
Gunther as
play.
a servant and showed him almost zero.
Let me rewind it.
Evergreen
Oh,
treated
boy.
Gunther terribly. He was dismissive, cold, demanding, and cruel. He used Gunther as a servant and showed him almost zero affection. But Gunther worshipped Evergreen anyway, the way a neglected child still loves an abusive parent. When asked about his deepest wish, Gunther's answer was simple. I wish to be just like you, Urgence. Evergreen never heard this. He never understood what Gunther wanted because he never bothered to ask. When the comet arrived, Evergreen was incapacitated before he could reach the crown.
The editing is so...
In desperation, he screamed at Gunther to put the crown on and wish for the comet
Like,
to be
none of these images line up with anything that's happening right now. Like, these are just like thrown in images. Like, nothing adds up. Like, at this point, we should just be at the image that showed up about like 5 slides ago, where Gunther's slowly turning into Urgent Evergreen. Will my phone go off? Oh, HVR did indeed just send me Mega Chameleon. Thank you.
destroyed. Gunther obeyed. He put on the crown, but the crown doesn't grant what you ask for. It grants your deepest wish, and Gunther's deepest wish wasn't to stop the comet. It was to be like Evergreen. The crown began transforming Gunther into what Gunther truly saw Evergreen as.
Yep.
Not the brilliant scientist, or the ice elemental, or the hero trying to save the world. Gunther saw Evergreen as a cold, angry, controlling figure who hoarded power and yelled a lot.
Now that is something that does go down the line to every wearer of the crown, which is also, funny enough, a part of MMS that we talked about yesterday, Magic, Madness, and Sadness. Oh, my string is gone. That does get passed down to Ice King. It gets passed down to Farmland Finn, which is like Ice Finn. And then also gets passed down to, I guess, Gunther, but mostly the only thing that happens when Gunther becomes the new Ice King is that they get the form of Urgent Evergreen. That's kind of like what happens to everyone. Everyone looks like Urgent Evergreen when they wear the crown because that's what this Gunther turned himself into. They're just like taking on that model, that form.
So that's what the crown made Gunther become, a mad ice wizard.
But yeah,
The
no, I'm down
comet
to play
hit.
that game.
The dinosaurs perished.
Games seem fun.
And the crown's curse was set, permanently locked into Gunther's interpretation of Evergreen, running that same corrupted wish for the next 65 million years. That's the origin of the Ice King, not a villain's curse, not dark magic from an evil sorcerer, a scared child's distorted perception of his father figure, crystallized into an artifact that corrupts everyone who touches it. Fast forward to the modern.
Pause there. The only thing I don't understand about this, right? About this part of the lore is if that was the original state of the crown because Gunther made that wish, right? I guess it makes sense, actually. I don't think I need to question it. I was gonna say that like after the crown is in Betty's hand, after it's reset by gold, Betty makes a wish. And Betty's wish is to keep Simon safe at whatever cost it may be. So that wish was made on the crown, which means the new default setting for the crown should just have been keep Simon safe. Right? But after I don't know if it does it reset it. Am I crazy? Like did it get reset a second time when it falls out of gold? Because when Gunther picks it up and puts it on, Gunther then becomes Ice King. I'll have to look into it myself and figure that out.
Roughly 1,000 years before the main series, Simon Petrikov, a human antiquarian, purchases a strange crown at an estate sale near a Scandinavian dock. He puts it on as a joke. He blacks out. When he comes to, his fiancée Betty is staring at him in terror. He'd been screaming and throwing things, completely out of his mind. That was the first episode, the first time the crown took control. In Holly Jolly Secrets, Part 2, Season 3, Episode 20, Finn and Jake discover Simon's video diaries documenting his slow descent into madness. The tapes are genuinely heartbreaking. In the first recordings, Simon is coherent and scared. He describes putting on the crown and losing time. He mentions that Betty has left him and his voice cracks. As the tapes progress, his skin turns blue, his nose grows, his behavior becomes more erratic. He starts talking to people who aren't there. He starts losing the ability to remember who he is. In the final tapes, Simon is almost completely gone, replaced by the personality that will become the Ice King. The man is disappearing in real time, and he knows it, and he can't stop it. The show also establishes, through the flashback episode I Remember You, that Simon found young Marceline crying in the ruins of the world after the Mushroom War. She was 7 years old, alone. Her father, Hunson Abadir, was nowhere to be found. Simon took care of her. He sang to her. He fought off mutant creatures to protect her. He scavenged food and supplies while the crown slowly ate his mind. Every time he put the crown on to use its ice powers in defense of Marceline, he lost a little more of himself. He was choosing consciously to sacrifice his sanity to keep a child alive. And the most devastating detail of all, when Simon finally lost himself completely and became the Ice King, he forgot Marceline. He forgot he'd ever known her. He forgot the little girl he'd protected through the apocalypse. When the Ice King meets Marceline in the present day, he has no idea who she is. She's just another princess to kidnap, and Marceline has to smile and pretend it doesn't destroy her.
Pause there. Popcorn bag. That part isn't true. What I mean by that is that it's not that it is okay. Well, the part of it that is true is that yes, he no longer remembers Marceline. That's very true. But she's not just another princess for him to go and capture. Marceline is the vampire queen, right? In the show, he doesn't go after Marceline. He doesn't try to kidnap Marceline. He leaves Marceline alone. He sometimes visits Marceline whenever she moves, gets a new place or whatever. He eventually finds it and like bothers her. Subconsciously, he doesn't know why that's happening, right? She's like, "Hey, leave me alone." He doesn't try to kidnap her or anything like that. He just like sometimes shows up and like is there and is annoying to her. like hanging around her, but like never trying to kidnap her or anything like that. That part that he said, not true. He doesn't know why he does it. Marceline clearly knows kind of why, but at the same time doesn't know why because she knows that he doesn't remember her. So she doesn't understand why he's actually showing up. But in the remember you episode they're talking about when Simon and Marceline sing together and she's reading like all the stuff. He like is asking her to help him pick up princesses. He's like, "Hey, I want you to help me make music so I can like pick up some ladies." It's not him going there to try and get her. Like he's never there to try and get her. Although in that episode he does try and kiss her. A whole other thing. That's because he's like, "Oh, I'm like not annoying to be around." And he's like, "Do you like me?" He's like, "Yeah, of course I like you, Simon." But he doesn't know why she's saying that, and he's like, he gets they hug or whatever, and then he tries to kiss her afterwards, and she's like, "Get away from me! Like, what are you doing? That's gross and weird." But he doesn't know why. And then later on, we find out the first instance of Simon and Marcy when she was lost during the apocalypse. The only thing about that is that after all of that stuff happens and Ice King is like finally leaving Marcy and he's like, I'm gonna find someone to come take care of you. I'll make sure he doesn't leave. Because he had to leave because he was losing his mind. The connection that people really don't make there is just like everyone's like, who is he talking about? He's talking about Hunter Abadir. He's talking about her dad. I don't know how he does it because it's never talked about. And it's also weird um to see is that we know that let's for instance talk about the vampires, right? During stakes. They know Ice King because he was around obviously. He was still around during the time where Marcy was like grown up. I'll BRB. Okay. When Marcy's grown up, Ice King is technically around, but not around her because he doesn't know her and he's like off doing his own thing. The vampires remember him. They call him like the Ice Wizard. Um, Somehow he convinced Hunton Abadir before stakes and all that stuff, before we learn about the vampires and all that stuff, before she's even a vampire, before Marceline is a vampire, she's still a little demon, the demon princess or whatever. Um, she he somehow like convinced Hunton Abadir to take care of Marcy because there's an episode obviously where he eats her fries, where the popular song comes from. The episode where he eats her fries is when he's taking care of her, which is after Simon leaves. And there's also the episode where she's in the apocalypse still. She's by herself in like a little cardboard box house that she's like built or whatever. And Hunton Abadir shows up for the first time, I believe, to her after Simon leaves, and he like kicks down the back wall and is like swinging the family axe around that she turns into the guitar that she plays, and is like, "Let's go suck some souls." Basically, it's just like kicking shit around. I don't know how Ice King convinced Hunter Abadir to do that to like come and take care of her. I don't know what he did. Somehow he did it. Don't know what deal they made or what kind of trick he pulled, but somehow he pulled that off.
Every time she sees the hollow shell of the man who saved her life. Now here's what makes the Crown mythology even more horrifying. It works the same way in every timeline. In the Farm World alternate universe shown in Finn the Human, Simon Petrikov froze the mushroom bomb before it could detonate, saving the world but dying in the process. The Crown sat next to his frozen corpse for 1,000 years. When Farm World Finn eventually puts it on, the exact same curse activates. Farm World Finn starts going mad. His skin changes. He becomes an ice-wielding version of himself with all the same symptoms Simon displayed.
Pause there again. What doesn't make sense to me from what they just said is that the curse is the same in every timeline. Kind of is, kind of isn't. especially with like the way the madness works. I would assume. Well, I have to say, I guess, because why in this universe then, right? Is Simon, who what's this? This is before the great. This is when the Great Mushroom War was happening. Why did this Simon in Farm World stop the bomb? Why did he do that? Why did he care to do that? You know what I mean? Obviously, Finn, after wearing the crown, does exhibit the same kind of I'm right all the time type thing. It's like, hey, this crown's giving me power. I need to freeze everything to protect everyone, right? I don't like, I feel like it's just weird. Because after that, he's like, okay, well, I need to save everyone now. Um, I'm gonna work with this guy that says he's good, like good people, which is the Lich, and he just doesn't know that. Like that one is different. The different timelines that we go to in Fiona and Cake, where we run into like the Ice King and stuff like that, it's also different there. Especially in like the universe where the Ice King's wish from the crown was to swap basically authorities with PB and the Candy Kingdom. Like he makes PB insane instead. And he's just like seen as like the nice guy, the nice ice guy or whatever. And he's still the Ice King, but he's like, or the Ice Prince. I don't really know. I think he's the Ice Prince in that one. And it's just different, you know. I feel like it's just the curse is not exactly the same every time, which also brings me back to the Betty resetting it and then Gunther turning to the Ice King thing.
The crown isn't responding to its current wearer's personality. It's still running Gunther's wish from 65 million years ago. Every single person who wears it doesn't become a version of themselves with ice powers. They become a version of what a baby dinosaur thought his abusive father was like. The show's writers confirmed this reading. The Ice King's obsession with princesses, his need to kidnap them and force them to like him, that's Gunther's childlike understanding of Evergreen's relationship to other elementals, filtered through a million generations of distortion. Evergreen was connected to the other elementals. He had power over them. In Gunther's young mind, that looked like a king controlling princesses. So every crown wearer develops an inexplicable obsession with capturing princesses because a dinosaur child couldn't distinguish.
That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. What he just said doesn't make any fucking sense at all. Also showing this imagery,
Between
that also, it's like, what are we talking about?
princesses. So every crown wearer develops.
Every crown wearer develops this, right? That's what they're saying. in the farm world universe, when Finn's wearing the crown, Finn is not obsessed with capturing princesses. The only thing Finn does in that universe is Finn freezes everyone, and that's because Finn believes he has to freeze everyone to save them from the current fallout of the world. Right? Not fully wrong about that. But also weird to do. But he's not obsessed with catching princesses. He's also not obsessed with catching everyone. He's just thinking he's saving everyone. That's a whole different thing.
An inexplicable obsession with
Welcome
capturing
back,
princesses.
She, right here, she's literally the next ice elemental. She never wore the crown. She never had to wear the crown. That's not something she has to do. She's the ice elemental. This is her right as the elemental to have the ice powers already. The only reason why she has everyone else here, quote unquote, captured, is because she had to, quote, she had to capture them. Okay, in air quotes, she had to capture them in air quotes, to try and get their attention and basically teach them, hey, you guys are actually elementals. We're the four elementals. We're the four elements. We actually should be ruling we are the strongest ones here. We need to like take over and rule the land and fucking take care of what we need to take care of. Never wore the crown. She wasn't specifically capturing the princesses for anything. Also, they just happened to be princesses because in previous generations, the elementals were guys and none of them were royalty. They were just males. This generation just happened to be females and happened to be princesses. Nothing to do with the crown at all. So again, what this video is saying, not true.
Because a dinosaur child couldn't distinguish between elemental bonds and royal kidnapping. The Ice Crown is a 65-million-year-old monument to parental neglect. Evergreen was too self-absorbed to notice what his apprentice actually wanted. Gunther was too young and desperate for approval to wish for anything except his master's attention.
Which is also brought up during this scene where Gunther puts on the crown and makes their wish. Evergreen is saying to Gunther, I need you to basically wish to stop the comet, and like that needs to be your wish. Like it's gonna work by taking your deepest wish. And he's like, I need you to just wish, that needs to be what your wish is. And then he hears Gunther saying, Gunther no, and like slowly turning into him. And he's like, use like your concentration magic or anything that I definitely like taught you. And he realizes like, shit, he didn't teach Gunther anything. He's just been like abusing Gunther and not telling him what anything. And then he realizes that comet's gonna hit, and not Ooh at the time. It wouldn't be Ooh at the time. Basically, like Earth is gonna be destroyed and everyone's gonna be wiped out. He's like realizing that too late, that he didn't treat Gunther right, B, teach Gunther anything to help in this situation.
And the crown, that incredibly powerful magical artifact
Scene made me
designed to
sad. I
save the
remember
world,
this. Yeah.
ended up destroying everyone who touched it, because the first person to use it was a scared kid who just wanted his dad to love him. Simon Petrikov spent 1,000 years trapped inside that wish, slowly erased by the ghost of a child's broken heart. And when he was finally freed in the series finale, pulled from the curse by Golb's digestive process, the first thing he had to face was the knowledge that Betty, the woman who loved him, had sacrificed her entire existence to make it happen. The Ice Crown's curse wasn't malicious. It wasn't designed to hurt anyone. It was a child's love gone wrong, amplified by cosmic power into an eternal loop of madness that consumed everyone it touched for 65 million years. That's not a villain origin story. That's a Greek tragedy wearing a cartoon costume. Simon lost himself to save Marceline, but Marceline's story goes even deeper. She's over 1,000 years old. She watched the world.
There we go. That's the shack I was talking about. She finally built herself a home, and then her dad shows up.
World end. She survived because her father, the Lord of Evil himself, abandoned her in the middle of the apocalypse. And the 1,000 years that followed.
He shows up, quote unquote, takes care of her for a little bit, eats her fries, and then ditches her. And she has to learn to survive on her own, as she's just, at the time, she's just a fucked up demon kid. Like, she's the princess of the nether, princess of the, why am I drawing a blank? Why can't I speak? The Nidosphere at the time, which she technically still is, because her dad rules the Nidosphere. And after that, she's just here as a kid and grows up around vampires and everything like that. Has the demon ability to like suck in souls, and then finds out that she can gain powers from doing that. And eventually, after wiping out all of the vampires, she becomes the vampire queen. after the VK bites her in their final battle.
Might be the loneliest existence any fictional character has ever endured. Moving on to Marceline, the Vampire Queen, and 1,000 Years of Loneliness. Marceline, the Vampire Queen, is
Also, to be fair, she was not lonely for 1,000 years, guys. 1,000 years of loneliness is a bit of a stretch. In those 1,000 years, during the time of the vampires, she accompanied a entire unit of humans at the time and protected them from the vampires. They're the humans that built the boat and started making their way to the islands. Some of them. Shout out to Bread Tom. Um, During those 1,000 years, she also started her own band, started making music. Met PB for the first time. They went on adventures and stuff like that together for a bit. They were like on and on again, off again for a very long time during those 1,000 years that he's talking about. She also traveled the world, raised her own army of the undead. She did a lot. Like, she was not alone for 1,000 years. Especially during the time where she was with Bubblegum, they went on a lot of adventures together. Speaking of which, shout out Obsidian from the Distant Lands episodes.
over 1,000 years old. She plays bass guitar, she floats around, she eats the color red, and she has the general demeanor of someone.
Also, there's another fucking hiccup from the AI.
She eats the color
Why did it
red,
just say that?
and she has the general demeanor of someone who has seen too much and decided the only healthy response is to not care about anything. She's the cool character, the one with the leather jacket and the attitude. But underneath all of that, Marceline Abadir might be the most emotionally devastated character in Adventure Time, and possibly in the entire history of animated television. Because when you lay out the actual events of her life in chronological order, it reads like a horror story about abandonment. Marceline...
That's also true. I mean, if we're going to go into that part, yes, it was a... Like, the whole beginning of her life is extremely, like, sad, right? She is born into the world half human, half demon. Her mom's raising her. She doesn't really know her dad at all, actually. I don't think she meets him until later on. She's living with her mom. They're in this already post-apocalyptic, basically, world. Or actually, it was during the apocalypse, basically. And they're just trying to make it. And then her mom sends her off on her own. She's like, hey, I need you to go to this place. It's where everyone else is. I need you to go there. It'll be safe. I need to stay here and try to fix this thing. Her mom does that because her mom's dying. Her mom died. She doesn't even know her mom died. She just thinks that her mom ran away because Marceline's like, I'm too much to deal with. My mom probably ran away because it's easier. It'll be easier for her. I'm a burden. And she went 1,000 years thinking that. Over 1,000 years, actually. She went her whole entire life believing that's what happened. So she's by herself, trying to grow up. She's like 9 years old now in the apocalypse. That's when she meets Simon. Then Simon abandons her, right? Because Simon's losing his mind to the crown. He's like, I need to get someone that's going to come take care of you. Hudson Abadir takes over. Now he's watching her for who knows how long, probably not a long time, until she's like a teenager, and then he disappears. She's abandoned 3 times now. After that, after Hudson Abadir, she is completely on her own, basically, until she meets Phoebe. Her on again, off again, until they get married, basically. But what I'm saying is that, like, her story is pretty tragic. Like, obviously, everyone knows her story is tragic. But she finds out later on like way later on. And when I say way later on, I mean Obsidian. Obsidian takes place around the time that Finn's probably like 20. In Adventure Time, while you're watching it, Finn's by the end of it, he's like 16, 17. So it's like 1,000 and maybe like 10 years, maybe. And she finds out that her mom didn't abandon her, and her mom actually like died and left her a message that she didn't get to find until she revisits the place, the bunker that she lived in with all the skeletons for a while, and finally sees the red light flashing and there's a recording on it. And she finds out it's from her mom, a message that had been sitting there for 1,000 years. Finally listens to it and finds out that her mom didn't abandon her. Crazy.
Is half human, half demon. Her mother was a human woman named Elise. Her father is Hunson Abadir, the immortal ruler of the Nightosphere, which is essentially Adventure Time's version of a demonic dimension. Marceline was born sometime before the Mushroom War, that making her one of the very few characters in the show who existed in the old world, the world that looks like ours before everything was destroyed. Her mother, Elise, died. The show doesn't go into extensive detail about the circumstances, but it's established through background images and the Stakes miniseries that Elise was present in Marceline's early childhood and then wasn't. Some evidence.
They literally, she dies in Obsidian. Like, yeah, what they're saying right now is like, in Adventure Time, it's not clear. All you know is that she existed and then wasn't there anymore. In Obsidian, you see the story of Marceline and her mom and like traveling. Her mom's coughing up blood and been coughing up blood, but doesn't say anything about it and feels herself getting weaker. And then eventually she's just like, hey, like, you're a big, strong girl. You're going to have to go and make it to this area that we've been trying to reach without me. I'm going to stay here and try to fix this bike so we can get around. But I need you to do this. She's like, I don't want to leave without you. And she's like, Marceline, this is not a time to argue. You need to go and do this. And she goes and does it begrudgingly, obviously, because she's leaving her mom behind. But yeah.
Suggests she died from the fallout of the Mushroom War itself. Either way, Marceline lost her mother as a very young child. Her father, Hunson Abadir, is a different kind of loss. He didn't die, he just wasn't there. When the mushroom bomb dropped and the world ended, Hunson was almost certainly in the Nightosphere, his home dimension. He didn't come for Marceline. In the episode I Remember You, Season 4, Episode 25, we see fragments of the immediate aftermath. Young Marceline, approximately 7 years old based on the timestamp in Simon and Marcy, is alone in the wreckage of a destroyed city. She's crying. In one scene, she's visibly mouthing the word, Daddy. Hunson Abadir is nowhere. Instead, the person who found Marceline was Simon Petrikov, a human stranger wearing a crown that was slowly destroying his mind. Simon didn't have to take care of this child. He was dealing with his own catastrophe, losing himself piece by piece to the Ice Crown's curse. But he saw a little girl alone in the ruins of the world,
and also losing
and he
Betty.
chose to stay. The episode Simon and Marcy, which takes place 996 years before the present, shows us what that relationship looked like. Simon scavenging for chicken soup to feed Marceline when she was sick. Simon fighting off mutant oozers while the crown whispered madness into his brain. Simon singing the theme song to a pre-war television show called Cheers to make Marceline laugh when she was scared.
A live studio audience.
Every act of kindness cost him a piece of his sanity, because using the crown's powers meant giving the curse more control over his mind. He knew this. He used the crown anyway, because the alternative was letting a 7-year-old girl die in the radioactive ruins of civilization. And then Simon lost himself. The man who sang to Marceline and fought monsters for her and stayed up at night making sure she was safe simply stopped existing.
Before that, right before this happens, right when Simon's leaving, he's recording the video that we talked about earlier. He's recording the video that Finn and Jake watched during the Secret Tapes episode, part 2. Where he's like, and maybe Betty, my sweet princess, you'll like basically you'll come back to me, like, and he's crashing out. That video he's like filming then, and then he just like ends the video, and Marcy's like, Simon, can I have my tapes now? Like, because he's told her he was like filming tape for her, and his response is, not now, Gunther. Like, his mind was clearly already gone. Calling her Gunther is also insane. Not really insane, it's clearly the crown, because that is the original Gunther's projection of Evergreen, telling Gunther to be like, hey, no, not right now. I've got other things I need to do. And he, obviously, with the crown on, sees Marcy as his assistant.
The Ice King took his place, a ranting, delusional creature who had no memory of Marceline, no memory of the apocalypse, no memory of the sacrifice he had made. Marceline was alone again, except this time, the person who abandoned her was standing right in front of her, wearing the same face, and had absolutely no idea who she was. This is confirmed as one of the show's most emotionally devastating dynamics. Throughout the series, Ice King encounters Marceline repeatedly. He talks to her. Sometimes they even hang out. But he has no idea that he used to be Simon, and he has no idea that Marceline is the little girl he saved. And Marceline can't tell him, because what would be the point? The man she knew is gone. The Ice King is a stranger wearing his body. In I Remember You, Marceline discovers that Simon left her a note before he lost himself completely. The note contains lyrics that would later become a song between them. Simon wrote the words while he could still think clearly, knowing he was about to disappear forever. Now leaving behind the only coherent thoughts he could manage for the girl he was about to forget. The episode ends with Marceline and the Ice King singing together, with Marceline crying and the Ice King having no idea why. After Simon was gone, Marceline spent centuries alone.
I'm gonna press play and see if they say anything.
The Stakes miniseries in Season 7 fills in some of this history. After the Mushroom War, the surviving humans...
Okay, so it looks like they're glazing... They're not talking about the fact.
Centuries alone.
So, after the Ice King leaves, like I said earlier, they're completely missing out on the fact that Hudson Abadir did come back. Albeit for a little bit, he still came back. He still showed up. And that's somehow because of the Ice King, which I still don't understand.
After Simon
but they're
was
glazing
gone,
over that.
Marceline spent centuries alone. The Stakes miniseries in Season 7 fills in some of this history. After the Mushroom War, the surviving humans on the mainland were being hunted by vampires who had emerged from hiding now that civilization had collapsed. Marceline, still a young girl, became a vampire hunter. She fought to protect the remaining humans, including a group led by a man called Two Bread Tom,
Shout out to
who were
Bread
trying to
Tom.
sail away from the mainland to safety. But Marceline was eventually bitten and turned by the Vampire King. She became the thing she was hunting, and the humans she was trying to protect sailed away without her, eventually settling on distant islands far from Ooo. Marceline was left behind, undead, essentially immortal, watching as the world slowly rebuilt itself around her, while she stayed the same. Think about the timeline. Marceline lost her mother. Her father abandoned her during the apocalypse. The man who saved her life forgot she existed.
They're doing this backwards. He's doing this backwards. Also, so he's mentioning
her father.
Right here, he mentions her father abandoned her during the apocalypse, right? That's what he's mentioning, right? Right here. This is after Simon takes care of her, not before. because like you can tell by her height here, she's older in this than when Simon finds her. When Simon finds her, she's in her overalls and she's way shorter. Like in the Simon and Marcy episodes that we see, she's way shorter than this. And the only reason why I'm saying this is because also it's like after he finds her, after Simon finds her and takes care of her, and he's leaving finally, he said, "I'm gonna find someone to take care of you. I'm gonna make sure he doesn't leave." Which again, like I'm saying, I don't know how, but he somehow got Hudson Abadir to take care of Marcy for a little bit before going insane.
Father abandoned her during the apocalypse. The man who saved her life forgot she existed. She was turned into a vampire while trying to save humanity, and then she spent roughly 1,000 years watching kingdoms rise and fall, watching people she cared about age and die while she remained unchanged. By the time Finn and Jake come along, Marceline has been alive for over a millennium. She's seen civilizations built on the bones of civilizations that were built on the bones of the one she grew up in. Her punk rock attitude, her emotional detachment, her difficulty maintaining close relationships, all of it makes sense when you understand that Marceline has been through 1,000 years of loss. Every relationship she forms is temporary because she's immortal and everyone else isn't. Princess Bubblegum is the exception, being nearly as old as Marceline, which explains why their relationship is the most important one in Marceline's life. Bubblegum is the one person who won't age and die while Marceline watches. The show confirms their romantic relationship in the series finale when they kiss during the battle against Golb. But the depth of what that relationship...
I feel like we know about their relationship way before that. During the Doorlord episode, where we find out that the shirt that Marcy took off during her performance and threw in the crowd at PB, and they smiled at each other, that she still wears over 1,000 years later. There was definitely connection there already. We were like, huh? And like there's like small hints here and there that like these two were like, yo, there's like some tension between these two, some clear tension. And we see that throughout the show. It's not just them kissing in the final episode. It's not just that. Like we've everyone who was watching the show was seeing like where everyone's getting hints. We knew what was going on. Like
relationship represents goes far beyond romance. Bubblegum is Marceline's proof that permanence is possible, that she doesn't have to lose everyone, that after 1,000 years of saying goodbye...
Again, shout out Obsidian in Distant Lands. Good episode.
Bye. There's someone who will still be there tomorrow, and Hudson Abadir. He eventually shows up in Marceline's life, but always on his own terms. He's not cruel exactly. He's just fundamentally incapable of being a present father. He's the ruler of a demonic dimension. He has responsibilities that have nothing to do with his daughter. And when he does interact with Marceline, it's often to cause chaos, like eating the souls of her friends or trying to drag her into the Nightosphere to take over the family business. He loves Marceline in his own way, but his way involves leaving a child alone in the apocalypse and then showing up 1,000 years later like nothing happened. Marceline's story is the emotional backbone of Adventure Time's mythology, because she's the one character who connects all the eras. She was alive before the war. Now, she survived the war as a child. She lived through the immediate aftermath, the vampire era, the rise of the Candy Kingdom, the building of civilization in Ooo, and the modern adventures of Finn and Jake. She's the living thread that ties the pre-war world to the present. And every step of that journey was marked by loss. The show rewards Marceline eventually. She gets Simon back in the series finale, she has Bubblegum, she has Finn and Jake as friends. But 1,000 years of isolation doesn't just go away, because things got better recently.
Some of these pictures suck.
That trauma is permanent. And every time Marceline picks up her bass and sings a song about loss or loneliness, she's drawing from a well of experience that spans a millennium. Marceline lost Simon to the crown, but Princess Bubblegum, the person Marceline eventually fell in love with, Ike might be hiding something far darker than a broken heart. Because Bubblegum didn't just build the Candy Kingdom, she built its people. She created every citizen from scratch, and she watches every single one of them. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this breakdown. Moving on to Princess Bubblegum.
How far in are we? 50 minutes. So we still have 10 minutes to watch. Well, we went over Marcy. So, yes, I mean, I agree with most of the things that were said. Obviously, we've talked about what we didn't agree with or what just simply wasn't as they were portraying it as. Now we're gonna get into PB, Princess Bubblegum, our German leader. Spog, what's good, shoe? The Candy Kingdom. For anyone who doesn't know, Princess Bubblegum, born from the Mother Gum, which was around the time of the Oozers. I believe PB is younger than Marceline. She was born from the Mother Gum about 10 years, maybe 10 years after the Great Mushroom War. Basically, she was born around the time that Marcy was already like 10 years old. I think 9 years old, something like that. You see the Mother Gum in the episode where we're talking about Simon and Marcy together. The episode in the alleyway where they're trying to get the chicken noodle soup because Marcy's sick. What's good, Shu? I got cucked in PoE, then given pity earlier. What happened? What do you mean? What'd you do? What'd you get? How'd you win? Like I was saying though, in that episode that I was talking about, you see the Mother Gum and you see someone fall off of the Mother Gum. Whether or not that was, well, it definitely wasn't it definitely wasn't Princess Bubblegum. That wasn't PB. Because in the episode about Nettie, you see PB is born inside the building that they were outside of. She falls off onto the floor inside the building. So whoever fell off, this is something I don't understand. So someone detached from the Mother Gum in that scene, but I guess they never formed themselves into a person, maybe? That's never talked about. They could do a spin-off about that. What the hell? But anyways, PB was either born then or after that. She's born from the Mother Gum along with Nettie, her brother. Was farming rituals and my last altar I crashed and then I rolled and got a mage blood. Let's go! But was short 500 favor because of the crash. Then I got a headhunter. Ah, that's sick. Congratulations, though. Congratulations. I know you want the mage blood, though. So, I mean, sell the headhunter, work on buying the mage blood. Yep, time to grind the mage blood. No, I'm using the headhunter on the melee build. Oh, okay, cool. Awesome. Where was I? Princess Bubblegum, born from the Mother Gum. Her and Nettie basically are together trying to survive. She starts to build she gets like a house and starts to build her own thing. Births the first candy people, which would be Uncle Gumbald, Cousin Cheekley, and I forget the aunt's name. Anyways, after making her family, things get weird. Like everything's fine for a bit, but then Uncle Gumbald wants to expand and basically take over everything. Bubblegum doesn't want that. She wants to be peaceful and have their own little family thing going on. Gumball's like, no, we need to expand. We find out about Gumball for the first time. We hear about him for the first time in the episode where we meet Susan Strong for the first time. Princess Bubblegum is asking Finn and Jake to remove the tree stumps from the taffy tree forest that her Uncle Gumball was chopping down at the time. And that's where they accidentally find the hatch that leads down to where the humans are, which are just fish people, and Susan Strong being the only actual human down there. Not those guys. But back to PB. After she does all that and Gumball chops down the stuff, she creates the Butterscotch Lake, which we find out about again in the show. Um, from Uncle Gumball's cabin that he made. She made the Butterscotch Lake basically to stop Gumball's expansion because he was gonna build stuff there. She's like, well, I think a lake would be nice there instead. She didn't want him going off and doing his own things because she was controlling. Obviously, like she still is throughout the entire show. She wants to control what her people do. And after all this stuff starts going down, she eventually, after Gumball betrays her and sends her off with her new boyfriend, old Mr. Cream Puff, who we find out about. Everything's just linking together. We find about Cream Puff from episode 1 of the show, where he gets rezzed, and she's like, "Oh, Mr. Cream Puff." She's like, "We used to date." That doesn't literally come up until the final episode of the show, which is kind of funny. Where we learn about the past and everything. Well, near the end of the show, when we learn about her past. Um, and you see that Gumball made Mr. Cream Puff to go on a date with PB and be her boyfriend to distract her, so he can start building his own stuff and start trying to take over in his own way. Then the Dum Dum juice comes through and is used on Chicley and everyone to make them into her docile candy people, which she then rules over, starts building the kingdom and everything. And all the rest of the stuff we'll find out. We'll talk about later. Everything else that happens down the line.
And the dark truth about the Candy Kingdom. Princess Bonnibel Bubblegum is presented for most of Adventure Time's early seasons as a benevolent ruler. She's smart, she's kind, she makes decisions for the good of her people, and she has a nice relationship with Finn and Jake. She's the princess you want running things. Reasonable, scientific, compassionate. But as the show progresses, layer after layer gets peeled back and a very different picture emerges. Because Princess Bubblegum isn't just the ruler of the Candy Kingdom, she's its creator. She made the Candy People. Every single one of them. They're not citizens who chose to live under her governance. They're her creations, manufactured by her, shaped by her, and, as the show slowly reveals, deliberately designed to be easy to control. Let's start with what we know for certain. Princess Bubblegum is the current incarnation of the Candy Elemental, one of 4 elemental forces in Adventure Time's world, alongside fire, ice, and slime. She didn't emerge from a normal biological process. She formed from a substance called the Mother Gum, a massive wad of sentient candy matter. This is shown in the season 7 premiere, Bonnie and Neddy. Bubblegum literally grew out of this pink substance, took humanoid form, and eventually began creating the Candy Kingdom and its residents. She's approximately 800 years old, possibly older. She was around in some form during the early post-war era, as confirmed by the episode Simon and Merci, where a pink substance that is almost certainly proto-bubblegum provides supplies to Simon and young Marceline. The show's creators confirmed that this pink goo was indeed connected to bubblegum's origin. Now here's where it gets complicated. Bubblegum created the Candy People to be her family. She was alone, a sentient blob of candy in a post-apocalyptic wasteland, and she built herself a community. That's sympathetic, that's understandable, but the show makes it increasingly clear that she...
To be clear, Nettie was also birthed from the mother gum. So he's his own sentient being. And her first legitimate brother. And only, I guess.
Also created them to be simple, trusting, and, critically, not very intelligent. This is confirmed when Bubblegum loses her throne in the Season 6 episode Hot Diggity Doom. An election is held, and the Candy People vote overwhelmingly for the King of Ooh, a transparently obvious con artist who makes promises he can't keep and lies about everything. Bubblegum watches her citizens choose a fraud over her, and the show presents her reaction not as anger, but as grim recognition. She understands exactly what happened. The Candy People chose the King of Ooh because they're not capable of critical thinking, and they're not capable of critical thinking because she made them that way. She built her citizens to be childlike, innocent, trusting, obedient, and for centuries that worked fine because Bubblegum was genuinely trying to protect them. But the show asks a devastating question. If you create intelligent beings who are incapable of questioning your authority, are you a benevolent ruler or a dictator who designed your own subjects to be compliant? The surveillance makes it worse. After a near-death experience involving the Lich's possession, Bubblegum became increasingly paranoid about threats to the Candy Kingdom. She installed cameras everywhere, not just inside the Candy Kingdom, but across Ooh, including in neighboring kingdoms. She was watching the Fire Kingdom. She was monitoring the Ice King. She even had surveillance on Finn and Jake. On top of the cameras, she implanted tracking devices in every Candy citizen. Every single one of them was walking around with a chip that let Bubblegum monitor their location at all times. The character Starchy, a Candy citizen who works as a grave digger, discovers the surveillance and starts a secret club to discuss Bubblegum's overreach. Bubblegum knows about the club immediately because she's watching through the cameras. She can see and hear everything her citizens do. Tree Trunks, one of the show's most innocent and gentle characters.
Innocent and gentle characters is crazy. Tree Trunks being one of the most innocent and gentle characters is insane commentary. That's wild. That's what I'm saying. Tree Trunks was a fucking pirate. She used to just kill people. She was also like a deviant. Multiple husbands. The only time... Let's see. She was about to divorce Mr. Pig until Sweet Pea showed up at their door. Now they had a kid. She's like, this changes everything. She gets bored after being in one place for too long with no new change. That's why she's been in kind of reason why she's been in so many marriages, but a lot of those marriages were like fucked to begin with. It was good for her to leave a bunch of those, but she was always on to the next adventure, basically. She used to run a corporation, dropped that because she got bored, married Wyatt. Before that, she was a pirate. She did a lot of stuff. I love Tree Trunks, but damn, that's crazy way to describe her. Yeah, no, I would never describe her as that. Especially the way she talks during the show, too. She says some crazy stuff. Like in the episode where her and Mr. Pig finally like are gonna start dating or whatever. Finn and Jake find out that Mr. Pig's been living with her the whole time. Like, oh, okay, cool. She starts caressing him while talking to Finn and Jake. It's like, yeah, he's been tending to my rose guardian. My rose garden. Pause. What? He's been doing, huh? He's been doing what? He's been tending to your rose garden? Finn and Jake obviously don't know what she's saying. And they're like, okay, cool. Like, so you're gonna make us any pies? And like, Mr. Pig's like laughing. He's like, oh, you, whatever. Like, she says some out of pocket shit multiple times. Or like during like one of the first episodes where they take tree trunks into the forest to look for the crystal gem apple or whatever. She's talking about like you have to like seduce like it's a male creature. You just need to seduce it or whatever. She's not innocent.
Directly calls Bubblegum a fascist to her face. The show doesn't shy away from that word, but the most kingdom. In the season 6 episode The Cooler, Bubblegum learns that the Fire Kingdom possesses weapons called Sleeping Fire Giants, ancient entities of enormous destructive power. Bubblegum decides that these weapons represent an unacceptable threat, even though the Fire Kingdom hasn't actually threatened anyone, so she orchestrates a covert operation. She manipulates the Ice King into freezing the Fire Kingdom's core, which starts killing the Fire People's heat source. While the Fire Kingdom is distracted by this crisis, Bubblegum sneaks into their weapons facility and begins disabling the Sleeping Fire Giants. Flame Princess, the ruler of the Fire Kingdom, figures
I spawned everyone. I'm PB, no big D.
out what's happening, and she confronts Bubblegum with a line that genuinely shakes the character to her core. Flame Princess tells Bubblegum that she's not doing this to protect her people. She's doing it because she's a bad person. And the thing is, Flame Princess is partially right. Bubblegum didn't have evidence that the Fire Kingdom was planning an attack. She acted on the possibility that they could attack someday, and she decided preemptively to neutralize the threat without telling anyone, without consulting
Banana
anyone,
peppers.
using deception and sabotage against a sovereign nation that hadn't done anything wrong. She killed Fire Kingdom citizens as collateral damage during the
That also that also did happen. Some of the fire people sabotage. But that did happen during that episode. Some of the people from the Fire Nation were dying. Like their flames were going out.
operation. People died because Bubblegum decided, on her own, that a hypothetical future threat justified immediate covert action. To her credit, this confrontation genuinely changes Bubblegum's action.
It does genuinely change PB after that. Where she's like, you're just a bad person. She's like, I'm not trying to be a bad person. I'm trying to be a good ruler and like protect my people. But she's like, basically she's like, here's the fire core back. She's like, you can keep it online for your people, but like I want to keep the other ones disabled. Basically, she's like, I want to show that I'm not a bad person, basically. And then after that, she comes back home and she tears down the wiring for all of her like spy cameras that she's using to monitor her people. Well, monitor everything. She monitors her people. She monitors specific places in Oo. Like, let's see. Just from this picture, right? This picture alone, this is like the wall of the Candy Kingdom. These are all inside the Candy Kingdom. This is at Finn and Jake's house. This is near Finn and Jake's house. I can't really tell by the picture. This is the well that isn't too far from Finn and Jake's house. This is the Fire Kingdom. I believe this is the from Lemon Grab's place. Here's right there. There you go. Lemon Grapes. They're literally just monitoring everything. This right here is from the Badlands, is like basically the equivalent of what to call it. This is like the desert that they travel through in multiple episodes. Marcy travels through it. Finn and Jake travel through it. Beebo travels through it during the sentient sandwich episode where he's a robot cowboy. Finn and Jake travel through it during the episode where they need to deliver the royal tarts. Royal tart toter episode.
Hypothetical future threat
I think
justified
that's what makes
immediate
her an
covert
interesting
action.
character because
To
she's
her
so
credit, this
great. Yeah,
confrontation
she's literally she's kind of like she's like good person but bad person, and that's only because she's like logically thinking about the only thing she really cares about is keeping her people safe. Nothing else really matters. She's like, as long as my people are safe and there's nothing that could threaten them, everything's okay. She's morally gray. It's like, well, I did this because it would protect my people. You know what I mean?
genuinely changes Bubblegum. At the end of the cooler, she dismantles her surveillance network. She removes the cameras. She stops monitoring everyone. It's presented as a genuine moment of character growth, a ruler recognizing that her methods had crossed a line. But then in the Grable's 1000 plus episode, which
Grable!
shows the far future of Ooh, we see something disturbing. The candy people are stored inside individual pods within a massive entity called a prize ball guardian. They appear to be in some kind of induced sleep. Bubblegum is nowhere to be seen. The Candy Kingdom has been abandoned. The implications are deeply unsettling. Did Bubblegum put her citizens into stasis to protect them from some future catastrophe?
The answer to that is probably yes. Because the Priz Ball Guardians, uh, at the top of them is like little housing units. I guess inside of them is like housing units, and at the top where their heads are like these balls that keep everyone in stasis. Who knows what TV's doing? Candy Kingdom's gone. This is an extra 1,000 years later, by the way. By this time, Marceline's 2,000 years old, and PB is like 1,800 years old. This is around the time where um, Lemon Hope returns back to the kingdom as an old man, and this is around the time where um, Jake's grandchild,
Did put her in a
when
band
Jake's
sleep,
grandson
the
is
prize ball
ruling
guardian? They appear
a piece of the land. I don't know what that area is called because you don't learn about it. But Finn's reincarnation and Jake's reincarnation right here are messing with him at the time.
to be in some kind of induced sleep. Bubblegum is nowhere to be seen. The Candy Kingdom has been abandoned. The implications are deeply unsettling. Did Bubblegum put her citizens into stasis to protect them from some future catastrophe? Did she essentially put her children in storage? Or did the experiment of the Candy Kingdom simply run its course and Bubblegum sealed the candy people away because she could no longer maintain the illusion of a functioning society? There's also the matter of Goliad. In the season 4 episode Goliad,
Goliad.
Bubblegum creates a clone sphinx of herself to serve as heir to the Candy Kingdom in case she dies. Goliad is built with Bubblegum's DNA and is intended to be a benevolent ruler. But within hours of gaining consciousness, Goliad discovers she can control people's minds and immediately begins forcing Candy citizens to obey her. She
I mean,
goes
that's
full
kind of Jake's
dictator
fault.
before she's a
That's
day
kind of
old.
Jake's fault.
Bubblegum's response is to create a second entity, Stormo, using Finn's DNA, and task Stormo with fighting Goliad forever. The two beings are locked in eternal psychic combat, with Stormo preventing Goliad from taking over the world at the cost of both of them being trapped in an unending battle for the rest of time. Bubblegum created a being that went tyrannical immediately, and her solution was to create another being whose sole purpose was to fight the first one forever. That's not...
Bro, to be fair, again, PB was going to teach Goliad, right? She had already been awake for like 5 days, right? With no sleep. So she's like, "Yeah, Finn and Jake are like, we'll take care of it. We'll teach Goliad." And then immediately, the first thing Goliad sees, basically, is Jake going into a room of kids and barking commands at them and making them do what he says, and like really angry. And he's like, "Yeah, you need to. It's my way or the highway, glip glob it." Right? And he's just like barking at them. And he's like, "I'm John, Yon, Don, Jerry Tempo." Like he's just fucking yelling at them and be like, "Hey, you gotta do what I say or else." And that's the first thing Goliad sees, and that's all Goliad knows. So now they're like, "Okay, Goliad, let's test out what you've learned so far." And they're like, "I've learned a lot from Jake." And Jake's like, "Yeah, maybe we don't do this." And then Goliad's sitting there barking commands, and then realizes that they can just force people to do what they say. So to be fair, that's not completely on PB. Could that have happened later on down the line? Sure. But if I feel like if PB were to be the one that trained Goliad, it wouldn't have gone that way. Would it have gone that way in the future? There's a possibility, but if Goliad was taught by PB and went down the same path PB went down instead, a more logical pathway that also had some emotion tied behind it, and like general understanding that like, hey, doing this or controlling people in that way is like fucked. I think Goliad could have been a good conduit, I guess, or like sub leader, or just someone to take over for PB when she couldn't be there. I think would have worked out.
Not governance, that's a containment protocol for her own failed experiments. And let's not forget what she did to Flame Princess when Flame Princess was a baby.
Okay, what happened to Flame Princess? Again, not PB's fault. We can't blame all of the things that happened in her life or that she did on her. What we're about to talk about is how Princess Bubblegum had the Flame King lock Phoebe away in a glass jail, basically, to keep her in check. Right? Sounds bad. You had the Flame Princess locked away for her entire life when she was growing up. To be fair, the Flame King found out Phoebe was going to be stronger than him. He can't have that. The entire thing with the Flame Kingdom is that it's a kingdom of usurpers. You become the king by killing the previous king or being stronger than the previous king or the current king, right? Found out his kid's going to be stronger than him. He had her. He was like, "Okay, you need to execute her," basically. Like, someone needs to get rid of this kid. So one of his servants took her, brought her outside of the kingdom, was supposed to get rid of her. Instead, gave her away to someone else, who then let her run free and burn down an entire forest just by running through it. She's just a little kid having fun who doesn't know how to control her power, right? PB sees this. That's clearly a threat to her kingdom, right? There's a fireball running towards her kingdom, burning down an entire forest. Keep that in mind. Picks this kid up, brings her back. "Hey, Flame King, think you lost something?" He's like, no, I didn't." She's like, "This is clearly your kid. Keep her in check." And she like basically helps him design the cage that she stays in for her life. That's not on her. The Flame King's negligence led to it. PB is just like, "Hey, it's a threat to my kingdom." But not just that, it was a threat to U in general. If Phoebe just ran around as a kid, she would have burned down all of the forests that were in U, which technically would have led to bigger issues if you think about it. What I mean by that is the Huntress Wizard lives in the forest. The allegiance of the Green Wizards that she's a part of lives in that forest, and so does the I don't remember his name, but he's basically the spirit of the forest. The guy that teaches Finn and Jake about how to fight the farm. They all live in the forest. That would have sparked the whole thing, probably. Especially if the Green Wizards got involved. In that time period, they were more powerful as well, so. Just saying, probably. Whole different problem that could have sparked off.
When infant Flame Princess was born, she was prophesied to be more powerful than her father, the Fire King. Out of fear of being usurped, Night the Fire King wanted to send her away. But it was Princess Bubblegum who found the baby after she accidentally set a forest on fire, returned her to the Fire King, and suggested she be contained. Flame Princess was locked inside a lantern for years, essentially imprisoned as a child, partially because of Bubblegum's recommendation. Here's the theory that connects all of this. Princess...
It's not a theory. That's a fact. That is a cold, hard fact that happened. But why is that all? Why is that on PB? Why are we adding this into like PB lore as like she's a bad person because she did this? No, she's not. No, she's
Bubblegum
not.
isn't evil. She genuinely loves the candy people. She genuinely wants to protect them. But she's also a scientist monarch who views governance as an optimization problem rather than a social contract. She created her citizens to be dependent on her. She surveilled them without their knowledge or consent. She conducted preemptive military operations against neighboring kingdoms. She imprisoned an infant because of a prophecy about potential danger.
She imprisoned an infant because of a prophecy of impending. Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? The Flame King imprisoned her instead of leaving her out in the wilderness to die. And she was imprisoned because PB was like, hey, put her in check. The only other thing that would happen is A, Phoebe would have died as a kid. B, Phoebe would have fucking burned everything outside of the Fire Kingdom to the ground. I feel like her not being alone for the rest of her life or her being dead are worse than her being in prison. I'm just saying. I don't think PB did anything wrong in that situation. Logically speaking.
When her first attempt at creating an heir went dictatorial in under 24 hours, the show is subtly suggesting that the problem isn't with Goliad, it's with the template Goliad was built from. Bubblegum is Adventure Time's most complex character because she forces you to grapple with a genuinely difficult question. What happens when a person who truly cares, who is genuinely motivated by love and protection, also has absolute power and zero accountability? She's not a villain, but she's not a hero either. She's a benevolent dictator who designed her own citizens to need her, and the show never lets you forget that the line between protection and control can be invisible when the person doing both is the one who gets to decide where that line is. Bubblegum created the candy people, but who created Jake? Because Jake the dog isn't a dog.
Okay, we hit 60 minutes. So that was the 30 minutes we were going to watch. The next segment, because we're going to do this in 4 segments, the next segment's going to be Jake the dog, clearly. I'm not going to go into this. I, like, immediately, as soon as they showed Jake, I was like, what's this got to do with Princess Bubblegum? And he's like, who created Jake the dog? So, like, I'll next time we go live for this, I will go into detail about Jake the dog. Where Jake is from, how Drake came up. I guess I could also talk about him as a kid. He also went through a punk rock era, which most people don't know about. How he grew up when he was getting older into his teenage years. And then just like adventure shit, Finn and Jake. We'll talk about that next time. Also talk about Jermaine and also his mom and dad. Yeah. We'll talk about all that next time. For now, I think we can just end there. I hope you guys enjoyed our little adventure time hangout times. Tomorrow's Thursday. Guys, I'll be honest, I don't have anything planned. I have nothing planned for the foreseeable future besides trying to figure shit out. So, tomorrow's Thursday. I'll go live again tomorrow probably. What we're gonna do, who knows? But I'll definitely do some more Adventure Time stuff. Whether or not the stream is early or later, don't know how long the stream will be, but we'll do that. And then Friday we have our BDO stuff. After BDO stuff, I'll figure out what I'm doing. I know that Sorg will be home, so I mean, maybe I'll see if people want a game or something. Get something put together. So pretty much the same as always, every day. Just winging it and figuring things out because we have nothing scheduled. We have no plans, as usual. So we'll see what happens. Moshi and I are POE after BDO stuff. You can join us if you want. Sure, I'm down. I'm working from home tomorrow, but still working until 4ish. Okay, sounds good. We'll see what happens tomorrow with stream. We shall see. But yeah, it was good seeing everyone. Hope you guys had a good time chilling with me and watching some lore. I'm gonna find someone to raid. I'll probably just raid Chav. Ooh, Selly's live. Okay, wait. So I'm either gonna raid Sethos because he's doing his Donathon. Scissor's doing their birthday anniversary stream. Mund is also live. Chav is live. I'll raid Chav next time. Selly's doing SM in a Minecraft SMP, which is like a cozy stream. I can send you guys to Sally next time, probably, for a cozy stream. I'll send you guys to Sethos for now. If you guys are gonna be here, show Sethos some love and support. Just say hi if you can. I'd really appreciate that. He's playing Overwatch. I'm gonna, I don't know, vibe for the rest of the night. I started streaming Dragon Ball Z to people in Discord recently. Maybe I do that again. Who knows? But I'll see you guys soon. Gute Nacht. Swings the earth right on its axis.